All right, Mariah, let's take a look at your paper. I'm only format first. Everything looks good. The Falling of Macbeth is a terrible title, so probably want to fix that. Something that fits with your theme, fits with your, the idea of striving to be something that you're not. I don't know. Something that would fit your theme, but that's just weak. All right, so you start with a quote, which is a good quote that you don't have any in-text citation for, so you have to put some in-text citation. And like any good speech student, you should know after this, you should really expand on that quote. Before you even jump into the play, expand on that quote. Tell me what it's about. Explain it in your own words. Try to rationalize it. I don't know, something, but you got to add a little bit more to that. So he's constantly talking about his actions almost as if his dreams come to a reality. I'm not sure what you're trying to get at there, but you might want to be more specific there. With sleep deprivation, no comma, being no help, he has a variety of symptoms, such as this. Now, I wouldn't necessarily expect you to cite these symptoms because hopefully you all have cited them maybe somewhere else, but maybe not, I guess. So you have that there. I actually really like this thesis statement. I think it can be analyzed pretty well, but we'll see if you can do that. So overall, it's not a bad beginning to the paper, but certainly some things we'll want to work on. All right, so your first paragraph, according to your introduction, is about behavioral changes. This is not a strong topic sentence. This is not necessarily a strong topic sentence, even though this should be about behavior changes. I want to see some outside source from all the research that you did that talks about behavior changes and what it means to somebody who suffers from sleep deprivation. And so I want to see that in here before you even start to get into Macbeth. He was somewhat forced into a path that he knew that he didn't want to go down, but knew something. I don't know, just reword this. It sounds kind of funny. Extremely is almost as bad as really or very, so get rid of that. And set this quote up there. He went down a path, and after killing Duncan, he realizes that he's not who he once was. Quote. Okay? But remember, this is about behavioral changes. So you haven't really taken any time to talk about how his behavior changed. He changed who he really was. I mean, I'm starting to get it here, all because he was thirsty, and would do anything he could to be on top, to be king. We know that's what that means, so you can get rid of that. Okay. To ensure he got what he wanted, he went about all the wrong ways to get it. Now, this sounds like a little editorializing here, so be careful. You're just there. It's third person, so you're going to kind of report the facts a little bit, but you just got to be careful about that. This is wrong use of semicolon. The until shouldn't be capitalized, but even after this is not a complete sentence, so you can't use a semicolon there. Now, here's a good place to use the quote about I'm in blood, stepped in so far that should I wait no more, returning where it's tedious is go over. Maybe you'll use it later, but that's a really good quote to talk about how he's in too deep. But again, what does that have to do with behavioral changes, and how does that make him a monstrous human being who strives to be king? Now, I get the striving to be king. I think you could maybe add a little bit more so that we get that, but I mean, I kind of get that in here, so at least you're kind of on the right track with that, but you still got a ways to go with tying it all together. At the end, he got the best of his emotions as well. I would love for you to use a different word than buried in your mess. You can't use the word you or your yourself, but you just use it right here, so use something else down here. All right, Mariah, I'm really going to challenge you to go back and read some of these sentences because they're very confusing and or worded poorly and or just full of errors. You got a run-on sentence here that you need to fix. So as we go through this, I'm going to probably point out a couple of things. So you're talking about being emotionally unstable. No comma here. No comma here. So, as he began his long journey of nonstop guilt and remorse, he began his journey to one day feeling good and powerful, to confident, unconfident and weak. I don't think unconfident's even a word. So, I mean, sentences like this that are just really confusing and it stops the reader from really reading on and having to go back and really think about what they actually just read. You need to definitely work on that in the future. Now, I don't know if you've really got to a good example from the story. And again, I don't see any example from outside source at all. Which, remember, you're supposed to have 3 quoted outside sources in here. And you have 1 in the introduction, but I need 1 explaining the topic or the symptom as well. But then you get on to the idea that she had short tempers. Is that really a byproduct of emotional, unstable emotions? I mean, I guess I kind of get it when it came to people who he felt threatened by. So, I don't know. I just want to, if I saw it from an outside source, I would say, okay, that makes sense. But because it's just from your mouth right now, I'm having a hard time maybe tying it all together. You got a couple of spaces where there's too many spaces. You don't need all of this at the end. It should just be the end of the parenthesis there. You know, when all I could think about was pleasing Lady Macbeth. Needed when Lady Macbeth died, he could not care less about the death of his beloved wife. I don't know what that first part means, so you want to change that. There wasn't a day that went by that his unstable emotions grew and slowly taunted him. So there wasn't a day that they grew. Is that what you're trying to say? Didn't grow and slowly taunted him. So again, poorly worded. It's not doing what you need it to do. You're trying to do transition statements, which is good. That's something that's a speech skill that you've taken to heart, but the rest of it needs some work. All right, so this third is supposed to be about his decision-making abilities. From the beginning of the play, comma, there's your 2 prepositional phrases that start off a sentence, Mariah. We just went over this. Comma, Macbeth battled with the constant troublesome of Lady Macbeth telling him to kill Duncan to be king. That's used wrong. It's more of an adjective in that way. No comma, and he would soon become king. However, comma, he was so power hungry that he wanted it now. This is a sentence fragment. Eventually, comma, Macbeth became king, but he still was not satisfied where he was. So a lot of plot in here, Mariah, is what I'm trying to get at. You do a lot of plot in here, and I still don't have you analyzing his decision making and what that is doing to him. You're talking about how he sent 3 murders to do that. Macduff was one of his competitors as well. He threatened him. But how does this have to do with decision-making ability? So clean up the punctuation and really focus on that decision-making that he's doing and what that ultimately means. All right, so now we get to hallucinations, which is one of the more obvious symptoms here. Multiple cases where he hallucinated. And again, we want stronger topic sentences here. Mariah, just not that he had this symptom, but it meant something that he had this. This is what I warned you about, not just saying, hey, he saw a dagger. Is this a dagger I see? So got that. You didn't cite either of these 2 from the play. And again, you have no outside sources in here as well. So that is something that you'll need to work on. Basically, that's all you say in here. He has 2 hallucinations. Eventually, comma, after all the torment and guilt he started, comma, he started seeing ghosts. Seeing a ghost. Make sure you're clear. His unstableness became very noticeable. Don't use very. This is a run-on sentence. So this paragraph is amounting to not a whole lot. Just a couple examples and not a whole lot of analysis. Poor word choice, etc. And you're not analyzing. See, we get to your conclusion, and this is your thesis statement, but you're not doing any analysis in here. So you get to the end here, and you're going through all of your main points, which you get through pretty well. And then you get to the end, seeing ghosts and daggers, maybe someone who couldn't bear the thought of his own self. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but you also have space issues here. You need to elaborate this clincher and try to elongate it. Remember, when you have comma conjunctions, 2 complete sentences on either side. Works cited page, you were supposed to have 3 sources. 1 book, 2 outside, so you don't have 3, which would be why you didn't do any in-text citation in your paper. And you would start off with, get rid of this completely and start off with this. And so you'd want to fix that, but again, at least that would put it in alphabetical order, but you need another source. You can't have only 2. So Mariah, a lot of work to do, a lot of things to clean up, and hopefully we'll see another copy from you.